Well, hello, folks, and welcome to the Melhorn Fishing Podcast. I hope you're having a good day, whatever day it is that you happen to be listening to the show. Today, we're going to talk about a problem in the catfish tournament world. And it's something I've talked about before, something I've discussed, I've brought up, been talking about this for several years. And it has to do with why the catfish tournament world is somewhat limited in its growth and getting bigger, getting more recognition, getting more reach. And a lot of this I'm tying back to what happened recently. And you may have seen this in some of my videos or some of the videos on these guys' channels who won this $100,000 first place prize in a catfish tournament. Biggest payout that's ever been handed out in a catfish tournament. And it was YouTubers who won it. Not the regular touring catfish tournament professionals, as I called them in a previous podcast. And we'll talk about that in a second, the wordage on that. But these are guys that are on YouTube. They fish tournaments before, but they're not the regulars. They're not the jersey-wearing guys. They don't have wraps on their boat. They're not the regular faces that you see, but they won. And they got amazing coverage for doing so. Hundreds of thousands of views, maybe millions by the time this podcast airs on social media. And whether it be YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, this is going to go on and on and on. And it speaks to something that I've said for a long time, that the tournament world, the catfish tournament world, has done a terrible job of marketing, promoting, and getting exposure outside of the tournament world. And what I mean by that is the guys who were the catfish tournament pros that fish this series, and I use that term pros to be the ones that do it regularly, that compete regularly, that win your points championships, that fish an entire series, that travel the country. They're as close to a professional bass fisherman as we've got right now. Nobody knows who these people are outside of the tournament world. And that is what I've said is part of the problem. That's a combination of the anglers themselves and the actual tournament series themselves, and just the way that stuff is handled. And it's fine as long as you want to stay inside that footprint of what has been created, to where you have a tournament, you bring in regular tournament fishermen, they fish it, the only people who see it are regular tournament fishermen. You got about 4,000 or 5,000 people nationwide that probably fall into that group. A few people on the fringe that'll pay attention to it, but what was evident with this tournament, when I put my podcast out about it, there were a bunch of people commenting that they didn't even know the tournament was happening, but they were excited to see Micah Burkhart, Spencer Bauer, and Brad win this tournament, Brad Cross, win this tournament because they watched them on YouTube. It was exciting. And I've got literally just on mine, and I'm not even one of these tournament guys in any aspect with the content I create, I got more views on the content that I have put out than the entire Mississippi River Monsters YouTube channel has ever got. And I say all that to say, not a bragging thing, but it shows you that the reach of YouTube stars like this fishing and winning a tournament actually puts them probably more into the pro category than the guys that are tournament fishing. And what I mean by that is these guys are, one, able to generate traffic for this tournament series and for the sponsors. Now listen, if you're only trying to sell tournament gear to tournament anglers, that's fine. With that said, there's a finite amount of money that you can make doing that. And that is what will limit the growth of the sport that everybody talks about and wants. Not necessarily something I'm looking for, but it's big talk as far as what people want to do. But when you get people like Micah, Spencer, Brad, myself, other people talking and putting content out about this, it reaches a much bigger crowd of people. There's a lot of people watching my content honestly have no clue about this tournament, that it even took place. But now they do. Maybe they'll pay attention to it. Maybe they'll watch the video, and if there's proper branding and exposure content there and placement, they get exposed to some of the sponsors. So my whole point is this. I think some of these tournaments would be smart to recruit people like this to come fish the tournaments. Because if you got tournament anglers that just ain't into social media, and that's fine, you don't have to be. It's not for everybody. This is not a world for everybody. Not everybody fits into it, and it doesn't work for everybody. Not everybody has the confidence to go out there and be in front of a camera and do stuff. But some of them do. And some guys like this do have the confidence to do it. I think it would behoove these tournaments to bring these guys in. If nothing else, pay for their lodging, pay for their travel, pay for their entry fee. I don't know. I don't know what would be fair, equitable, and keeping it kind of unbiased and all that. But leveraging the exposure these people have that the tournament series themselves don't have and that the tournament anglers don't have would probably be smart if they truly want to grow the sport and get more exposure and more money. Again, this may not be something they want to do. This may be something that's out of their wheelhouse. They're happy with the format that they got, and they're happy with what they're getting. I don't know, but it goes back to the point. These guys, these type of characters, faces, names, they draw views. And views are what create the money. That is what these travel and tourism bureaus want to see. They want to see a place like Vicksburg. I'm sure Vicksburg was paying a lot of money to have this tournament there. They want people to see this outside of that tournament world. They want the casual angler that may go, hey, I may go to Vicksburg and fish there because they caught some good fish, or they got good accommodations. They got a nice place to stay. They got a nice ramp. That is what they want to see. So that's kind of my take on it. I think the bottom line is this. I think the YouTubers delivered way more to this tournament than the actual tournament anglers did. And I think that will continue to be true until that shift takes place in the tournament world. I think it's going to. I think you're going to see more and more of these guys that raise the bar and take it to the next level in the tournament world, start to build a brand around themselves instead of around somebody else's products. And I think you'll see more and more out of that. And I think they'll be the next one to take it to the next level. And they'll probably be the ones that are using the forward-facing sonar to win these tournaments here in the near future and down the road. And that's a whole nother topic for another day on what these tournaments need to do with forward-facing sonar. But we'll save that for another podcast. For now, I just want to drop this with you. Give me your comments and feedback down below. I love hearing from you. And we'll catch you guys out on the water.